With the latest update to Ultimate Alliance 3, we got quite a few new Infinity Rifts to do, and some of them were actually really pretty difficult. Now, on the road to unlocking all 30 stars to unlock the Symbiote Spidey costume, this one here was the last one I actually done. It was the final star I needed, and it was for completing this mode with no team members incapacitated. Exceptionally difficult, and it actually took me about 10 attempts. Now, since doing that, I've played around with builds and strategies, and I came up with an idea that I hope would work well. So I've actually tested it out today, went in, and the first time I was able to actually complete it with no one being down. So what I'll do in this video is I'll start off by showing you the team I'm using, I'll explain my rationale for using them, and I'll also show you the ISO 8 on them. Once we've done that, we'll then go through the gameplay and I'll talk you through that as well. But let's jump in and check out the team we're using. The objective here, of course, is for none of your members to get down, so you really want to go for a tanky team. Now, looking at the health rating on characters, these were the ones to go for. Yes, you could put in the likes of Thanos and Luke Cage as well, but I really like this setup. So we've got Captain America, Wolverine, Thor, and also Colossus. You've got really nice survivability with Cap, Thor, and Colossus, and Wolverine with his health regen actually has a good bit of survivability as well, but he can also stagger bosses, and that's quite important, so we get them down quickly. But that's the team. Let me show off the ISO 8 we used on them as well. The first character I have here is Captain America. Now, when it comes to the ISO 8 I tried to get some vitality, some health regen, and some resistance in there as well, and you can see I've actually got all of that. Additionally, on top of this, I've got some energy, and what I'm doing as well, and I feel this is quite important in this mode, is I'm adding the ice ability attribute to Cap's shield, so that way he's got a chance to actually freeze elites, and it can make this a little bit easier. And I do that for the other characters, but you can add an element to them as well. Now, I do know that I have Thor here, of course, and Thor can add the electricity element to Cap, but it's all dependent if he's near him when he actually uses the skill, and it's not got the highest of uptime. So for that reason, that's why I wanted to put the specific element on him, so it guarantees 100% uptime. But that's the setup for Cap, so let's look at the next character. This is the Wolverine setup here. I've got increased vitality, so we can get the regen up even higher. I've got increased damage done to enemies, so that helps take down the bosses. Increased crit hit chance, there's your 13% damage resistance. I've added shock onto him again, so we can stun elites, and I've also got increased resistance to being interrupted while attacking by a ton, because this allows you to keep firing off his light attack and just move around, because when you're controlling Wolverine, it's really important that you do stay mobile with him. The next character is the Mighty Thorn. He's one that I'll very likely be doing a beginner's guide for next. I've got all the editing done. I just need to play around with him a little bit more and then do the commentary. But with Thor, we've got increased vitality, increased durability. I didn't specifically go for that, but it was on the Rainbow ISO 8 I had. We can increase the damage to the stagger gauge, increase crit hit chance. We're increasing the crit hit chance of ability attribute attacks. Now, these came alongside rainbows that actually were used for survivability, so I didn't specifically spec for these, but I'm not going to argue about getting them. Also have increased damage resistance, and then I've got the 2.9% hit point recovery every 10 seconds as well. So let's check out the final character. Then we finish up with Colossus, and he without a doubt is the tank character here, and he's just amazing in that role. So we have increased vitality by 19.6, increased the damage of melee attacks by 17.2, I didn't spec for that, but it was on one of the Rainbow ISOs. Increased damage resistance by a whopping 31%, it gains 3.4% hit point recovery every 10 seconds, and increased their likelihood of being targeted by the enemy by 86.5%. I actually have two of them on him, because I really want the enemies to target him. So that's all the characters we're using, so let's go into the gameplay now and I'll talk you through it. For this gameplay then, I won't add commentary to the whole thing, so I don't really feel it's needed, but as we're going through it, I'll tell you any parts that are really important. Now, I will mention at the start though that by and large here you'll notice that I control Wolverine, because out of the characters we have with Captain America, Colossus and Thor, he's probably the one that is the least durable out of them. That's not to say that he's not got a lot of defence, but not as high as other characters. So for that reason I actually want to be in control of him. It does appear that the AI gets some kind of damage resistance bonus, so they don't take as much damage but sometimes they can do pretty silly things. So for that reason I like to control Wolverine myself. And he's also the primary damage dealer here. With his stagger move, you can stun the bosses and take them down pretty quick, and that's something you want to do because the bosses come in at set times. So if you don't take them down, you could potentially get to the point where you would have multiple bosses, and at that point you're definitely going to get incapacitated. Now you'll notice that at the moment I've got the extreme attacks available on all my characters. You want to hold off on your extreme attacks and use them as a way of quickly getting your health pool back up again. During this video, occasionally you will notice that I hit them, I don't really need them, and that's just me getting a little bit trigger happy, to be honest, but do try and hold them until you need them. Same with the blue and the red orbs, try not to pick them up until you absolutely need them, the red ones especially. So you can see we're just trying to clear all the trash here just to keep them on the lower side, because if we have lots of them appearing then you will be in trouble. So Supergiant's up next, so once again with Wolverine, just want to take her down as soon as we can really. You can use 4 to get a nice amount of damage as well, because in this particular run through I ran dry on Wolverine. I was using him too much when I should have switched away from him. So I jumped over to 4 to do some damage and get the stagger gauge and so on down, and I'm leaving Cap and Colossus just to do their thing, just to lumber about and be big brutes of characters. Colossus especially, he will be pulling some aggro for me and he can definitely take it. So that's Supergiant now down, so the next boss that is going to appear, and at the point he appears can get really tricky, and that's generally when you will get defeated. It will be Cyclops, but as this stage goes on the enemies deal more damage and you deal more damage, so when Cyclops comes in he is exceptionally dangerous, but I'll show you in a moment what tactic we use to make him really nice and easy. You can see I used extreme attack there because health wise Wolverine only had about a third or so left, so definitely worth using, but you want to try and save them as well for Cyclops coming in. Got 5 seconds and he'll drop in. And there we go. Now at this point you switch over to Colossus and you'll use his defensive move where you can actually walk about. So you want to walk in front of Cyclops and then you reflect the beams and you'll take out loads of other characters and you'll do a huge amount of Cyclops, and you'll be protecting your other characters as well because you are blocking the beam. Now with this particular skill in testing, if you don't pick up any energy you can actually hold it down for a huge 50 seconds, but the fact you can actually walk about with it, essentially for this last minute and a half you can just switch over to Colossus when the enemies will be doing the most amount of damage and you've got the exceptionally dangerous Cyclops about, and you just hold down this button and just walk about and there's really no risk to you at all. And there we go. That is Cyclops down. You can see when he was stunned we were just quickly breaking out the heavy attacks, but other than that what we're going to do from this point is just stroll around the battlefield looking like an absolute boss. And you can see why Colossus is probably my favourite character in the game at the moment. The fact that he can do this, amazing. And I'll also mention the fact that if you've not watched the beginner's guide for him yet, he blocks the lasers in levels as well. So in one of the levels in the raft you have to pull a crate in front of a laser to block it. Colossus can actually do that. He can just walk in front of it and block it for the rest of his team. Absolutely amazing. So we're just finishing up anyway, just about 10 seconds or so to go. And there we go, that's us, not a single character down. So the key as mentioned, stay mobile as Wolverine at the start, use him to fin that, show trash. When Cyclops appears, switch over to Colossus and just activate your defensive skill, and really it's easy from that point onwards. So do let me know in the comments below if there's any particular strategies that you're using you find that have worked out well, and let me know if you use this one, if it helps you to get that elusive final star on it. And as always, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you all again soon.